the Saints are keeping Derek Carr. They restructured his contract, freeing up about $30 million in cap space for 2025. Mike, what do you think?
I mean, a month ago, this is exactly what I thought would happen. Even 2 weeks ago at the Combine, when Mickey Loomis and Kellen Moore said, Derek Carr's their guy, this is kind of what I thought would happen. But as we got more information while they were talking, this kind of feels like a lose-lose. I really genuinely think Derek Carr kind of wanted out and wanted to explore free agency. And I think as a result, the Saints kind of just slammed down and said, no, we're going to make you honor your contract. When I was hoping there would be an opportunity for a pay cut, because I don't think this is market value. I wish the Saints had the leverage to say to Derek Carr, hey, if you'd like to stay here, can we do it at Sam Darnold money, contract he just signed, $30 million that you've been making, $33 million, something like that, just a little less, because I don't think Derek Carr would get that on the open market. But instead, the Saints had to pay full price for Derek Carr, and it seems like Derek Carr's unhappy too. So I could already talk myself. I've said a lot of nice things about Derek Carr. I don't think he's as bad as the fan base seems, as a large portion of the fan base seems to think. But I like a motivated Derek Carr, invested in the system, happy, thrilled to be here. The Derek Carr we were talking to last summer that couldn't wait to dive into Clint Kubiak's offense. Now it sounds like a Derek Carr who wanted out, who is learning his third offense in 3 years, and who is costing $10 million more than he cost before. So I don't think anyone. I think it feels a little lose to me.
I think he'll buy in and be motivated just because
Yeah,
he's going to be. But yeah, my problem with this is well, let me start at the beginning. If the Saints want to be a competitive team with a quarterback they feel like they can win games with, like they had to do this. So I'm okay with it. I feel like it was part of their financial
yeah,
plan all along. I think getting rid of him, if your goal is to win games, is you're better with him. You have to keep him. You got to do this, and it is what it is. You'd like to get him back on a cheaper price, all that stuff. If your goal isn't to win games, then I think you get rid of him. If your goal is to rebuild, then I think you get rid of him. And I think, obviously, I'm ready for that other path. I've said it a million times, but they're
they
on this.
clearly
They're on.
they
They're on.
clearly aren't. Yeah,
They're on this path over here. So for them, that's what they had to do. My biggest problem with this is that every indication seems to show that Derek Carr didn't want to be on the Saints. Like him quitting on the Saints, not quitting, but like him wanting to leave the Saints. I don't know. That just doesn't. It just feels bad. Like it feels bad. It feels bad that they kind of had to like force him back in. That they just aren't on the same page. Like all of it just feels bad. Like
yep,
it's not a. It's a situation where I don't think anyone felt great about it, but this makes you feel worse about it.
yeah,
And
it's fair.
it just feels nasty. Just I don't like the vibe of it. I don't like the feel of it. I think he's going to be fine. I think the Saints are going to be fine. But this was something where it felt like, like, and I'd never tell a player to give their money back or anything like that. But if there was just even like the smallest of gesture where you could just say, Derek Carr took a pay cut, he's back with the Saints. Like if it's from 40 to 38, like just to be able to say it, like to show that there's like something, it just would have felt better. It would have felt different. But this is where it exists. And look, I think in week 5 last year, and I made the argument. I think he was probably the MVP of the team. Like the early portion of the season, I think he was the MVP of the team. I thought he was playing good football, all that stuff. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the situation. I wish they were moving on, and I wish they were starting something new.
Yeah, like I mean, completely agree. Like I've made the point that I don't even mind what Derek Carr makes. I mean, we just saw 2 NFL teams take different approaches with Geno Smith. The Seahawks, and I've always said I think Derek Carr's a Geno Smith type of player. I think that's his tier that he's in. And they decided, well, we don't want to reinvest in that. That's not the direction we're heading. The Raiders said we want to invest heavily in that. That's the direction we're heading. So different teams can feel differently about that tier of player. I was personally at the point where I wish the Saints, because of the makeup of their team, they don't feel like the team that needs the $40 million veteran quarterback. They feel like they need the reset, the younger roster, the refresh, the catch up on the cap. But all of that is fine. He didn't have to take a pay cut. They didn't have to demand he take a pay cut. And even you in your column on the website, made that point over and over again. But it's still an unfortunate situation. Like when you find out, if you are of the belief that the Saints should have moved on and gone for the reset. And then you find out that that's what the player wants too. It just feels like that's the direction they should have gone here. If the direction was different, if Derek Carr wanted to be here so bad that he wanted to take a pay cut, that would have been great.
To be fair, though, I'm not letting Derek Carr dictate my plan as a team. If I'm the
Right.
GM of the team, if I'm the coach of the team, and
But
my plan includes Derek Carr, I'm not letting Derek Carr
we're not
dictate
talking
it.
about what the Saints should have done necessarily. It's how it feels, and that's why it feels like such a bad taste in the mouth now.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, to some degree, but I'm not sympathetic to Derek. I'm not. Oh well, Derek wants this. They should have done it. Like no. Like if this is their plan is to have him, it just is what it is on both sides. Like he doesn't have to take a pay cut, and they don't have to let him go. But I'm not letting Derek decide that I'm going for the number one overall pick. Like no, you signed a contract,
Yeah.
you're staying. If he doesn't want out, then fine, that's his prerogative too. Like it goes both ways.
Yeah.
It really does. Like this is what they agreed to. They stayed to it. You can't really tell either side. Like it is what it is. I just feel like there's a PR opportunity there for him. Like really that's what I feel like there was a missed opportunity like PR wise. Just where it's just like, hey, look, I'm bought in and I'm doing this. But like it turns out he wanted to go. And that's okay too. Like I understand it. If I was him, this isn't an ideal situation. Like it
Yeah.
um
I would have
the,
rooted for him to have success in
the
Pittsburgh. And
team
like,
hasn't been great. The
yeah,
fans don't like him. Like I get it. Like if I'm him, I don't want to be here either. But it just doesn't feel good
right.
knowing that either.
Yeah. No, but look, I think there is a alternate universe where Derek Carr has success. I think it could have happened with the Saints if they had stayed healthier. I think he would have won games if he had ended up in San Francisco instead of Brock.
You could tell me they win
Like,
10 this year and I
yeah,
believe it.
yeah. I don't think he can't have success. I just don't like the current fit now. I liked the fit 2 years ago. I don't like the current fit now, especially when you factor in the fact that it feels like he's not all in, and that's what adds the bad taste to it. So it's it's too bad the Saints didn't have all the leverage in this situation to say, hey, we will only keep you if blank. It ended up being no, we're forcing you to stay here, and that's why it feels worse to me even than it did 2 weeks ago when we were talking to Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis. Now, on the flip side, Kellen Moore wants Derek Carr as his quarterback. Like, if he did not, and you add all this in, he wouldn't be here. I think the main reason that he's here is because this is what Kellen Moore wants to do. And that also signals Kellen Moore wants to install his offense with the best possible quarterback he can get his hands on, and he wants to try to win right away. So pretty soon, and after free agency plays out and we see what they add to this roster, we're going to turn our attention to, okay, can they win 10 games? And I'll hope to see it because I do want to see the Saints reverse course and not be the same old team. So hopefully Kellen Moore sees this is the perfect guy to run my offense and try to win this division. I hope that plan works out because that's the plan they are very heavily in.
Yeah. Yeah, he talked to him this week. He told him, "Hey, look, I'm all in on you. You're my quarterback. I want you here." So there's no doubt about it. He said today that the plan was when he took this job was to take it with Derek Carr as his quarterback. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, that's what they've been saying. I don't think there's any want to move on to somebody else. Some of the other coaches on the staff today we were talking, they like Derek. I just don't. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to go with, and that's what it's going to be. So, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. That's all I can say. Is it just doesn't feel good. It just feels like a little bitter situation, and you just don't want that. You don't want that, and I don't feel like the team should have been forced to bend. I don't feel like Derek should have been forced to bend, but you just wish it would have been a little bit together somehow. And I don't know what that looks like because there's probably
Sometimes you have friends and you like both members of the couple and you just think they should probably split up.
yeah,
And it would be best for both.
or like what's the win-win here? Like Derek gives back $5 million and they go spend it on a wide receiver or something. Like they spend $15 million on a receiver.
I will
He throws
say this.
5 on it. Like I don't know what it looks like, but like I wish it
think
would have been
part
a
of-
win-win.
I think part of Carr's disenchantment is he feels like he took less than market value the last 2 years when he was only playing for $30 million per year and did not see them turn around and invest it. You've made that point too. They spent a lot on Derek Carr and they did not spend a lot around Derek Carr, and
Yep.
that's part of the reason why they're in this 8-win limbo or whatever you want to call it. And I think he's become disenchanted by the same thing. So I think that is fair for him not to think that if he gave $10 million back, that it would immediately go to a wide
But
receiver.
then have that conversation. Hey, look, we'll do this, and when you have this in place, we'll,
Yeah.
you got until 3 o'clock on Wednesday to get under the cap. If you execute it, we'll do it. Like, yeah, reach an agreement. Let me see the agreement, and then we'll do this. Like,
I wish
you
they
could do
were
it
more
that
on
way.
the same page.
Yeah, if you're on the same page, you could easily, you agree to something contingent upon, something else.
The last piece to add to this,
They just aren't there. It sounds like it was really a difficult. It sounds like it was a really difficult,
yeah.
situation.
The last piece to add to this, I said this proves that sort of Kellen Moore wants to keep his foot on the gas pedal. Financially, this is the best way to keep your foot on the gas pedal for 2025. That wouldn't be my top choice, but now they save $30 million against the cap by restructuring his contract. They've got a $67 million number waiting for them next year. They've pushed this problem off to next year, but in the meantime, they have ample opportunity to spend in free agency if they want to, and it seems like that's what they're intent on doing. I mean, this is the same approach we've seen from them over the last 5 years. I thought it would be different after a 5-win season and firing the head coach. This is maybe even more aggressive than they've been in recent years. That's what Mickey Loomis said they were going to be.